Joining us now here at What She Said is our travel expert, Candice Derricks from lifeinpleasantville.com. And tonight we're talking about things maybe not so Pleasantville, traveling during hurricane season.
Well, I mean, as we've seen recently, top of mind for everybody, I'm sure. So I thought maybe we'd just sort of talk about when it is, what to do in case you are there, and all of those things that I think we should all know. Because really, hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th. So that's half the year. So if you're traveling between June and November, there's a chance, but albeit slim, for some that you could run into this. So the most active month for hurricanes is September.
Surprise.
Yeah, shocker. Considering we just saw that Harvey ended near the end of August, and then we had Irma, Jose, and Katia in September. Did you see that crazy shot with the 3 hurricanes
I know.
active at once? I mean, that's just absolute insanity. Statistically, you're probably best to book in June, July, and November for major hurricanes not happening in those months. So I think a good thing for everybody to do, considering 6 months of the year is hurricane season, is before you go to the National Hurricane Center website, and you can see all active tropical depressions, storms, and hurricanes before you go. We're departing for Jamaica ourselves this week, and so I've been on it daily looking to see if there's anything developing or if there's anything that I should be just generally keeping at the back of my mind in case something happens.
So when you buy your tickets or you're traveling, what are you doing regarding insurance for that?
Well, we're going to get right to that. I mean, obviously, medical insurance is a must when you travel. My mother, just a brief story, my mother ended up in a hospital in Mexico for a week one time. And if it wasn't for the rock-solid medical insurance she had, the bill probably would have bankrupted them. It was well over $30,000 for a week, U.S. That stings, right?
Yeah.
But often overlooked, and I think not even overlooked, but I think ignored, is trip cancellation and trip interruption insurance. I think people just think the odds are in their favor and they're not going to bother.
What's the difference between interruption and cancellation?
Well, cancellation is if your trip gets canceled by the provider, or depending on the insurance you've bought, you can also cancel for any reason.
Okay.
So say there's a hurricane developing and you're nervous about going. I mean, even though it's looking like it may not approach you, you can cancel. It's sort of a for any reason cancellation. So when you're buying your trip cancellation insurance, look at that to see if that's in there for you to give you peace of mind, especially if you're nervous about that, right? Trip interruption insurance is if you're halfway through your trip and you have to leave and you've lost 4 days of your holiday. You would be reimbursed for those 4 days.
But wouldn't the airline be contacting you and saying, we're not providing this flight, so you have to leave on an earlier flight? I mean, if there were a hurricane developing and you had to leave,
So if you were in destination, depends who you go with. I mean, if you've booked through an airline, but you've arranged your own hotel by yourself, like it's all separate, right. Then you're going to have to figure all of that out when you're in destination, I think. Like you would have to contact your airline to see what they're doing. If it's a package provider, then normally they will be in touch with you and
tell you you've got to leave.
Yes, absolutely. But if you have trip interruption insurance, then you will be able to collect on what your lost time when you get home.
Ah, okay. So they may not necessarily have to refund you even?
Well, it depends if you bought it through the insurance. But I think people have to look at the fine print when they're booking their holidays, which, let's face it, most all sort of just go click and we don't look. But you have to look at that. What is most airline providers will have a hurricane policy. So like I said, considering this is 6 months of the year, we should all be looking at that and finding that. And what is their hurricane policy when you're booking between June and November so that you know what recourse you have in case your trip is interrupted. When I was researching this segment, I came across this, I just have to bring this because it was like sort of odd to me. There's a company called globalrescue.com. And it's an insurance company, and they're the leading provider of medical evacuation, repatriation, and security extraction services. So if you want to pay the $750 a year for your family of 4, if you found yourself in a situation where you wanted to be evacuated, you could call them up.
That actually.
Well, we were actually talking about this.
Yeah, because I'm not sure I'm not sure one should rely on the Canadian government and the other taxpayers to rescue
Well, I
you
think
if
I
you've
think
headed into a-
this was a really unique situation for
Yes.
sure. It was devastating. A lot of lessons learned in this one. Before you travel, I would say that everybody needs to find out the number of the Canadian consulate in the country that they're traveling to, and to put it on a piece of paper with other numbers you may need: insurers, physicians, family numbers, and keep it on a piece of paper so that you have access to it in case your phone dies. You don't want all your information on your phone if your battery goes.
You're absolutely right. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, Candace, thank you so much for joining us. This is very timely information, actually.
And I'm going to actually have a blog post up on this in Life in Pleasantville with some more detail into it.
We'll chat with you again in a few weeks. This is What She Said. We'll be right back.